I'll see you in the morning, okay, buddy? Okay. Alright, this is episode 18, Daddy and Cooper Reads. I don't know, Cooper might be out like a light already. He had a long day, just started kindergarten. We're very excited for him. And I just knew that we hadn't done an episode in a while. So I read a book to Coop, a Star Wars book, and we tried to do an episode of that. I'll post that, but it's really didn't come out that well because it's a comic book and it's kind of hard to read comic books. If you're not the actual reader, it's kind of hard to follow. So I wanted to do this book, which is another book Cooper bought with his birthday money. It's called The Great Kapok Tree, and it's by Lynne Cherry, A Tale of the Amazon Rainforest. Here is the introduction. In the Amazon rainforest, it is always hot, and in that heat, everything grows and grows and grows. The top of trees in the rainforest are called the canopy. The canopy is a place that touches the sky. The animals that live there like lots of light. Colorful parrots fly in and out of the tree. Monkeys leap from branch to branch, and the top of the rainforest is and the bottom of the rainforest is called the understory. The animals that live on the understory like darkness. Their silent snakes curl up, hanging on vines. Graceful jaguars watch and wait, and the steamy environment is where the Great Kapok Tree shoots up from the forest floor and emerges above the canopy. This is a story of a community of animals that live in one such tree in the rainforest. The Great Kapok Tree by Lynne Cherry, A Tale of the Amazon Rainforest. Two men walked into the rainforest. Moments before, the forest had been alive with sounds of squawking birds and howling monkeys. Now, all was quiet as the creatures watched the two men and wondered why they had come. The larger man stopped and pointed to the Great Kapok Tree. Then he left. The smaller man took an axe he carried and struck the trunk of the tree. Whack, whack, whack. The sound of the blows rang through the forest. The wood of the tree was very hard. Chop, chop, chop. The man wiped off the sweat that ran down his face and neck. Whack, chop, whack, chop. Soon the man grew tired and he sat down to rest at the foot of the Great Kapok Tree. Before he knew it, the heat and hum of the forest had lulled him to sleep. Ooh, dream time. A boa constrictor lived in the Kapok Tree. He slithered down the trunk to where the man was sleeping. He looked at the gash that the axe had made in the tree, and then the huge snake slid very close to the man and hissed in his ear. Senor, this tree is a tree of miracles. It is my home, where generations of my ancestors have lived. Do not chop it down. And he slithered away. Here he is. You see the snake slithering down the tree. Oh, he's sleeping already. A bee buzzed in the sleeping man's ear. Senor, my hive's in this Kapok Tree, and I fly from the tree to tree and flower to flower collecting pollen. In this way, I pollinate the trees and the flowers throughout the rainforest. You see, all living things depend on one another. And the bee flew away. A troop of monkeys scampered down the canopy of the Kapok Tree. They chattered to the sleeping man. Senor, we have seen the ways of man. You chop down one tree, and then you come back for another and another. The roots of these great trees will wither and die, and we will be left with nothing to hold in the earth's place. When the heavy rains come, the soil will be washed away, and the forest will become a desert. They all scampered away. A toucan, a macaw, and a cockorock flew down from the canopy. Senor, squawked the toucan, You must not cut down this tree. We have flown over the rainforest and seen what has happened once you begin to chop down trees. Many people settle on the land and set fires to clear the underbrush, and soon the forest just disappears. Where once there was life and beauty, only black and smoldering remains. A bright and small tree frog climbed down along the edge of the leaf. In a squeaky voice, he peeped into the man's ear. "Senor, a ruined rainforest means ruined lives. Many ruined lives. You will leave many of us homeless if you chop down this great Kapok tree." A jaguar had been sleeping along the middle of the branch in the tree. Because his spotted coat blended him into the dapple light in the shadows of the understory, no one had noticed him. Now he leapt down and padded silently over to the sleeping man. He growled in his ear, "Senor, the Kapok tree is home to many birds and animals. If you cut it down, where will I find my dinner?" Ooh. 4 tree porcupines swung down the branch, from branch to whisper into the man's ear. "Senor, do you know what animals and humans need in order to live? Oxygen. And senor, do you know what trees produce? That's right, oxygen. If you cut down the forest, you will destroy that which gives us all life." Several anteaters climbed down the Kapok tree with their young clinging on their backs. The unstriped anteater said to the sleeping man, "Senor, you are chopping down this tree with no thought for the future, and surely you won't know what happens tomorrow upon what you do today. The big man tells you to chop down this beautiful tree, but he does not think of our children or his children, who tomorrow must live in a world without trees." Good point, anteaters. A 3-toed sloth had begun climbing down from the canopy when the first men appeared. Only now did she reach the ground. Plodding over so slowly, down to the man sleeping, she spoke into his ear in a deep and lazy voice. "Senor, how much is beauty worth? Can you live without it? If you destroy the beauty of the rainforest, on what would you feast your eyes?" There's the sloth. A child from the Yahanamo tribe, who lived in the rainforest, knelt over the sleeping man, and he murmured in his ear, "Senor, when you awake, please look upon us with new eyes." The man awoke with a start. Whoa, what happened? Before him stood a rainforest child, and all around him, staring, were the creatures that depended upon the Great Kapok Tree, with wondrous and rare animals that they were. The man looked about and saw the sun streaming through the canopy. Spots of bright light glowed like jewels amidst the dark green rainforest floor. Strange and beautiful plants seemed to dangle in the air, suspended by the Great Kapok Tree. The man smelled the fragrant perfume of their flowers. He felt the steamy mist rising from the forest floor. But he heard no sound, no creatures. Everything was strangely silent. The man stood and picked up his axe. He swung back his arm as though to strike the tree, and suddenly he stopped. He turned and looked at the animals and the child. He hesitated, then he dropped the axe and walked out of the rainforest. He made the right choice. Here's a note that the author wrote. Dear readers, I wrote The Great Kapok Tree to let the world know what happens to the rainforest creatures and to the entire planet when rainforests are destroyed. I hope that after reading this book, you will help save the rainforests. The Great Kapok Tree is about the Amazon rainforest, a tropical rainforest, but we have a temperate rainforest in the Pacific Northwest of the United States that we must protect too. Please care for Mother Earth. Together, we can make a difference. Lynne Cherry. And there's the picture of her letter on the back. And let's take a look. So this puts it in perspective, everybody. These green areas are the only rainforests in the entire world. And they're getting cut down. They've been getting cut down for the last probably 30 years, 35, 40 years now. These are the only ones left. They're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. These are rainforests that we absolutely depend on, that our kids absolutely depend on, and their kids will depend on. That's it. Puts it in perspective. Until I read this book with Cooper 2 days ago, the first time we read it, when he fell asleep just like he did tonight, I did not realize that's all that's left. That's it. That's all we have. Those are the only ones. Pretty crazy. And yeah, there's forests. There's forests throughout here, but they don't do what rainforests do. Rainforests have a special, fundamental purpose in our environment and world. Anyways, Danny and Cooper Reed. Didn't mean to get all political, philosophical on you, but trying to do good and pay it forward. Daddy Cooper Reed, episode 18. Thanks, y'all. Look for episode 19 tomorrow. Cooper started kindergarten. Whoop, whoop, whoop. We're excited about that. All right. Leave a comment, suggestion. Like us. Subscribe.